Hi, I'm Tyson Franklin, and welcome to this week's episode of the Podiatry Legends podcast. The podcast is designed to help you feel, see, and think differently about the podiatry profession. With me today is Jason McAninly, and he is down in Melbourne. And today we're going to talk about recovering after being run over by a motor vehicle, which I wouldn't probably suggest anyone goes to do this to find out what it's like. But we're going to talk to Jason about his recovery of getting through all that and still being a podiatrist and actually still being alive to talk to us. So, Jason, how are you doing?
Good, thanks, Tyson. How are you?
I'm great. And how are you feeling in general? How do you feel? Good?
Yeah, good. Definitely on the mend. As you said, would not recommend being a speed bump.
No.
it is a big speed bump in your life. But yeah, no, everything's going really well. So yeah, definitely best I've felt in years.
Okay, so just go back a little bit before we talk about the car accident. Is what got you into podiatry?
So I was, not the greatest student at school.
Yeah.
And I went the longest way possible to get to university. I was managing footwear stores, the Athlete's Foot, Sports Mart down here, Sporty's Warehouse up on the Gold Coast, all over the place. Worked for Nike, all those fun little places. And then retail. It's hot. It just crushes your soul after a long period of time. I absolutely hate Christmas. It's the worst time of year, and that's just taken all the fun out of it.
Yeah.
So I wanted to stay within that industry and happened to have many friends that were already podiatrists that had really good work-life balances, enjoyed their life. I never heard anyone say a bad word about podiatry. And I decided at 28 I would leave a multi-million-dollar business to try studying again, which I was horrible at previously. But life experiences,
that's true.
So much easier. I had enough time to do all my assignments, do everything like normal, but still have a few beers with the boys after class and whatnot. So it hardly felt like a challenge, which was good.
Yeah, I don't know too many mature age students that did podiatry that didn't do well. Yeah. Actually, I don't know any that chose podiatry as a mature age person. Not that 28 is really that mature. Yeah, like you're still not that old, but all the way through uni, anyone that came in at mature age always did pretty well. Was always towards the top of the class, and they had lives outside of podiatry too. They had families or other commitments, mortgages, and they just excelled. So I think it's great.
I think it's knowing what podiatry is as well. There's many people in our cohort that were in it and didn't really know what podiatry was.
Yeah. So I take it you enjoyed it.
Yes, definitely.
Definitely enjoyed it. So where did you start? How many years have you been out now?
4 years now.
Okay.
So we graduated in 2018. Yeah, 2018.
Okay. So then you got together with some friends, didn't you? And you started What the Foot?
Yeah, we had What the Foot podcast. We, a bunch of podiatry students, we all sort of felt there was a bit of a gap from what you learn in uni to what you use in podiatry. And we wanted to try and fill that gap with some little tips. Yeah, it's a big gap.
Massive gap.
Yeah. And it's trying to fill those little gaps. But then we sort of realized that that's pretty niche, and we sort of tried to open it up a bit more, and just general study tips and university tips for allied health in general. Sort of tried to aim it for high school, uni, and just tried to get people to be excited about studying, and then with the podiatry background for it as well. And then, away we're going there.
And that's how we sort of crossed paths, because you asked me to come on What the Foot.
Yep, that's it. Unfortunately, we've taken your episode down because the last 20 minutes got cut off. So we're re-uploading it with a disclaimer at the front, apologizing about because the best part at the end was I played the bass guitar for everyone, and that got cut out, unfortunately.
I can't remember that. It was that long ago that we did it. I just remember us doing it and you saying, it's going to be out on this date. And I said, is it out yet? And you said, no. So, well, let me know when it's out and I'll promote it. And Is it out yet? Is it? Oh, hang on. Nah. And then I think you got hit by the car, didn't you?
Yeah, it would have been about that time. So we had issues uploading it, and then we had
remember saying, "What are you doing?" You go,
yeah.
I'm recovering. My whole body's broken.
Yeah.
And I'm like, damn it.
So we uploaded it, and then we realized about a couple months later that it was missing the last 10 minutes or so. So we tried fixing it, and just we're clearly not as good as the Podiatry Legends podcast.
But didn't I have a copy of it? I thought I recorded it from my end as well.
Oh, if you do, we might have to get that off you to get that last little bit on.
Yeah, I'm not sure, because usually whenever I'm somebody else's podcast, I normally record it at the same time in case they stuff up, in case something goes wrong. But maybe I've only been doing that since you guys stuffed up. Yeah, but I thought, maybe I should do that from now on. I'll dig around and see.
We were the changing factor, because we uploaded it to Anchor, and the last 10 minutes is missing for some reason.
That'll be Anchor.
Yep.
Okay, so let's get on to the reason I wanted to get you on here. One, because we're both doing the push-up challenge at the moment as well.
Yep.
I know each time I do it, I think, it's such a good idea, such a good cause, until you start looking at the 200 push-ups for the day and you go, I'm sore from yesterday.
Yep. I've done 70 today, and I've still got like 100 to go.
Yeah, I've still got about 130 to do today. So that's right. And I hurt my shoulder the day before it started.
Yeah.
And my wife is going, why don't you just do sit-ups? I went, it's called the push-up challenge. I can do sit-ups. It's called the push-up challenge.
Yeah. And then the worst, I started on chest day as well. That did not plan well.
Yeah, well, what I've got to work out my timing is, because I started back at Muay Thai, and then when we're there, you might do 10 push-ups. This might be all you do, 10 push-ups while you're there, or they might make you do 200. You don't know. So I've got to go this afternoon. So I'm like, I'm going to do half of these now. And when I get out there, I may end up doing the other half out there and some bonus ones, or we may not do any. Then I'll do them when I come home.
Yeah.
So fun and games. So let's get on to you with this accident. So take us through what you remember happening.
So it was 2020. I was at a friend's engagement party, and we were crossing the road. And ironically, the two of us who got hit were both designated drivers on the night.
So you weren't drinking?
No, we had a couple, but we were well under the limit.
Yeah.
We both have ADHD as well. So as soon as the light went green, we're off to the races. And
you didn't look left and look right.
We did, but the car was that far away.
Yeah.
So the car ended up running the red light by 8 seconds.
Oh, Jesus.
So you saw it a couple 100 meters away and went, that's going to stop. Next thing we remember, I hear the girls behind us, who luckily were wearing heels, so they didn't cross the road as fast as we did. Hearing a scream, car, and looking across, and the headlights were, right in your face. And next second, I'm waking up with my hand full of blood, and a few people running on the road helping us out. So it was pretty intense.
So was it like, when you're watching a TV show and you see the lights and you hear the screeching noises and the lights just flash? Was it just like so quick? Was it like a shock type experience?
Yeah. So just saw the lights. They didn't brake. They didn't see us at all. So what I remember of it is seeing the lights and then hearing the crumple of the bumper.
Yeah.
And then I don't remember feeling anything. I remember waking up, a couple of seconds later, 12 meters down the road, with a handful of blood, and 40 people around us, because it was, there was everyone who was at the engagement party going across to the second venue there.
So the other guy that was with you, was he like lying next to you on the road, or did you go different directions?
He lets me know this about all the time. He went 17 meters. So
how did he go one better?
Yeah, exactly. He also stood up and tried to walk across the road, and then his reaction was, I need to get off the road. Took a couple of steps and then collapsed.
So is he smaller than you?
No, he's probably got a little bit on me, actually.
I was going to say, if he was smaller than you, could say, look, I took the impact for you.
That's it. Well, that's
and I didn't go as far, because you took he just got flung a little bit, but you took the impact.
We rode off the car, so that's the joke we always make about it, is we took a car head on and we won. So
what injuries did your friend end up with, and what injuries did you get?
So ironically, we were both very similar with our original findings. So we both had torn ACLs. I did MCL as well. And then he had a tibial fracture as well.
Yep.
And then I found out over the next few days. So originally I had the ACL tear, and then we found the MCL tear, and then fibula break on the other leg, show part fracture or midfoot, show part dislocation, midfoot dislocation with 3 avulsion fractures, fractured L2 and L4, the big laceration in my head, which is now why I shaved my head, because my bald patch doubled in size that day.
Oh, right. Okay.
And I can no longer straighten my thumb, which I can't give a good thumbs up anymore.
Of all the things,
Exactly.
everything else is great, but your thumb's still now stuffed.
That's the most disappointing thing, because, you know, I always like giving a good thumbs up, and now it's not quite as impactful.
So what was the journey? How long did it take from obviously getting hit by the car? You're in hospital straight away.
Yep.
How long were you off of work for?
So I was off work for 6-7 months, the first stint. And then I had surgery. I've had 3 lots of surgery since then. So all up, I think I've had 9-10 months off work.
Okay. So was your friend a podiatrist as well?
No, he's a carpenter. So he hasn't gone back to work as of yet. He's still battling with a few other demons as well.
Okay. So, and then did you have insurance when you went off?
So in Victoria, we're super lucky, and I only learnt that this is a Victorian thing when it happened. I thought the TAC or the Traffic Accident Commission was an Australia-wide thing. It's not.
Yeah.
So with our registration, car registration, you're covered for loss of earnings, medical injuries, all that sort of thing through your car registration.
Okay.
Even if you don't have a car registration, if you get injured on a public road, you are covered by the Traffic Accident Commission. So all my salary's been covered, all my medical's been covered since then. So that's been a bit of a positive.
Okay. So how are you feeling now in general? Pretty good?
Yeah, right now, pretty good. I've been unfortunately, this is my 3rd ACL reconstruction. So I've battled really hard, got back from one, and then about almost a year after that one, got hit again and had another one.
You got hit by another car?
No, so I had an ACL reconstruction in 2019.
Oh, right. Okay. Then the car buggered it the second time. Okay.
That's it. And I did actually almost get hit a couple of weeks ago as well. Another car ran a red light, tried to overtake another car, and I hit my hands on the bonnet. That was, that was a pretty big experience to test the old psyche, and a bit of PTSD after that one. But
yeah, I had a driver the other day, a P-plater, and I'm just walking the dog, and I'm walking up against the gutter as close as I can. This P-plater is just flying around the corner, and I could have adjusted their side mirrors. They were that close, and you're just thinking, it doesn't take much. It really does not take too much. To and I've been fortunate. Like I got hit by a police car when I was on my bike when I was younger, and I just hit the car, went over the bonnet, and ended up on the other side. Not a mark on me. Yeah, buggered my bike, but not a mark on me.
Yeah. It sounds like I did something similar on a postie run. A car didn't have their lights on, and postie run, a what do you call it, newspaper in the morning, and car didn't have their lights on. I turned the corner and he ran straight into me. And
it doesn't take the other reason I wanted to get you on here, not just talk about the journey you've gone through to get yourself back together, and the time that you would have had off of work. How did it affect you coming back as a podiatrist, like work wise? Like, not say your thumb not working the way that it should. Has that affected you?
Yeah, it definitely has. I mean, one of the minor positives out of all of it is I've always been relatively ambidextrous. So I can use the left hand not as efficiently as my right, but I can't debride for, if I get really heavy calluses, I've got to double that appointment length, and I've got to take breaks. Clippers tend to hurt. I get lots of pain up through my forearm. I've just had an MRI, and I'm seeing a surgeon on Monday. So I'm getting an epidural in my back because the back's still giving me grief, and that's having to make sure I've got the best, like the correct chairs to sit on when treating and that sort of thing. And so I'm getting an epidural in my back and going to see the surgeon for my thumb all in the one day, luckily at the one center.
It's amazing though. It can just be the smallest things that can happen that can affect your job. That's why I always say to people, always make sure, like insurance-wise or income protection, that even though you don't expect things to happen, that's the whole idea of insurance is you're betting the insurance company something's going to go wrong, and they're betting you something won't.
Yep.
And you're always hoping that they win.
Yeah, and you just never know when this is going to happen. Like we crossed a green. We had a green pedestrian man.
Yeah.
And this car ran the red light by 8 seconds. So you just don't know.
Yeah, and see, I'm really paranoid. I always assume they're never going to stop.
Yep.
That's just why I've always, even when I'm in the car and I'm driving, there's another car coming out and I've got the green light. Even while I'm turning out, that I'm still watching them, thinking, especially if the cars have already stopped, I'm not expecting them to take off and try and hit me.
Yep.
But if there's no cars out and I see cars coming out, I just assume they're probably not going to stop. So just be aware of it.
Yeah.
So anyone that's listening to this, don't just assume that people, one, stay on their side of the road and are going to stop.
That's it. You just never know.
So with your recovery now, so you've still got, obviously there's things that you're going to probably have the rest of your life. There's going to be these like ongoing problems. How has it been? Like you've gone through all this over the last couple of years, but at the same time, you've been in Victoria, the lockdown capital of the world.
Yep.
How has that been?
Yeah.
With
so
everything else.
Again, trying to take the positive out of everything. This happened as COVID became relevant in the news. So we got shipped out of the hospital as quickly as possible because they were the Alfred, the biggest trauma center in the Southern Hemisphere, I believe it is. They were trying to prepare that for COVID. So and then I'm laying on the couch with 2 cam boots on, my thumb in a brace with a broken back, a knee brace on for my MCL. And it's during lockdown. So I wasn't missing out on anything for those first 6 months sort of thing, because I was couch bound anyway. One of the annoying parts is when I got the boots off, the first thing I did, I was like, I'm going to go for a drive, and realized, we can't. We weren't allowed to leave the house for other than the 4 reasons at that time. So that was, at the time, it was fine. Like, because I was injured, I wasn't able to go out anyway.
Yeah.
Because of my back, I can't. I have to be really careful on the chairs that I sit on. If it's too deep, if it doesn't have a backrest, I've got about 5 or 10 minutes before I'm spasming and in pain. Standing, I can't stand for 10 minutes without leaning, again, because I get spasms and pain and that sort of thing. So I was kind of, for me, as selfish as it sounds, a bit of a blessing. I didn't have to force myself out into those situations.
Yeah. Well, it gave you time to recover and heal as well.
Yeah. The flip side of that is, mental health as it is. Then I started to not want to go out and I became really socially isolated and started to really be socially anxious and try to not do anything and just try to stay at home. And then lockdowns happen more, and then you get stuck in this horrible cycle, and living with people that weren't paying attention to the rules and doing everything they could to break the rules, knowing that I'm going to work and seeing at-risk vulnerable people that I don't want to be taking those risks, and then all that compounding, and then a tooth breaking and all that time as well. It sort of all just kept compounding. So it was definitely a very tough time.
So what did you do to get you through it? Yeah, did you have any tricks, or was there someone you reached out to, something you were reading, something you were listening to, other than the Podiatry Legends podcast, that sort of helped you get through it?
Yeah, definitely. So being ADHD, I have lots of passions or hobbies that last for about 6 minutes. I intensely focus on them and fixate on them. In the last 12 months, it's been bass guitar, golf, cycling, now Formula One on the PlayStation.
Have you got your bass guitar with you?
I don't, not at work, unfortunately. I was bringing it to work during lockdown.
What I'd like you to do before this episode comes out is if you can go home, record yourself on the bass guitar, just a little bit, just the music, just like that. And I'll be a bit better than that, actually. And I'm gonna use it as the outro for this episode. Yeah,
fantastic.
I'll use it as the outro music. So I'll just have it playing in the background instead of my normal outro music, just to make things a little bit different.
Yeah, brilliant. I like that. And so yeah, I had all these little fixations that I became obsessed with for periods. I, again, being lucky, working in healthcare, I understand the how to navigate the healthcare system. So I already knew about mental health plans.
Yeah.
So the 10 visits, Medicare subsidized visits for mental health. So I was using those to make sure that I was in the best mental health I could be. It's something no one ever thinks about. The brain is a muscle, essentially. If you got an injured calf, hamstring, you go to the physio, you go to the podiatrist, you get that looked at. If you're having a mental health issues, people just ignore it a lot of the times.
Because it's got a stigma attached to it. It's like when you hear the word mental health, everyone goes, "Oh, you're mental." And that's like, "Oh, are you weak-minded?" And I think sometimes it just has this, but mental health can mean so many things. And even when you hear depression, people go, "Oh, you're depressed, are you?" But it's more than that people don't understand.
Yeah. So yeah, and so I was doing that, and again, I had a really good social group around the accident because so many people were there and saw it happen. So I had a really good group. Pretty much as soon as I got home, I actually started a group chat with everybody that was there, and the first thing I did was to tell everybody to go and get a mental health plan. Anyone who witnessed it, anyone who saw, who helped out, anyone who was around there, to make sure they got on that. So we've had that
just to help cope with what they saw.
Exactly. You need to debrief like that situation. Like some of our friends saw Roland, 10 meters in the air, flipping through the air, and then getting up and then collapsing. Like that's a big traumatic injury to anyone's brain that wasn't there. Wasn't impacted. Sorry, physically impacted. There's big mental impact there. So,
and two people will handle it differently. One person will see that and it may have no effect whatsoever. And the next person may think it has no effect, but then they're wondering why they can't sleep at night.
Yeah,
because they haven't dealt with it.
Yeah, and we made like Roland and I very similar personality in that we will take traumatic situations and try to make them funny, and that's our coping mechanisms.
Which is how I cope with things too.
Yeah, we were the ones calming everyone else down, making jokes. We're both laying in pools of our own blood, not allowed to move, and we're the one making jokes, trying to make sure everyone else is calm, and trying to de-intensify. I don't know if that's a word. De-escalate the situation and try and keep everyone as calm and happy as they could be.
It's a scary thought.
Yeah. So yeah, I had that. As I said, the mental health plan was really good, and then to top all of that off with 3 surgeries, potentially looking at a 4th, I had another pretty big life hiccup, and my marriage ended as well. So like as you're saying, depression,
that's right. I did see you mention something about that, and I'm thinking, oh yeah, let's just top it off with your marriage ending.
Yeah, so that happened all through.
Was that all related to the injuries and the recovery, and you just coping with that, and them coping with it, or was there was already cracks in the relationship anyway?
It came completely out of the blue to me, and I think that definitely had a big part of it because I became a completely different person. I was a lot less charismatic, a lot less in your face essentially, and just not wanting to do anything. So I think that definitely took a play on it, and then couple that with COVID blues that everyone got down here in Melbourne. I think that did definitely compound it. So that's where doing this push-up challenge for me was a massive thing, because I was pretty low. I was really, really struggling for quite a long time there, and the mental health support has got me to where I am now today. I'm back at footy training. I'm kicking, able to join in on drills with the boys. I'm going out, 3-4 times a week now, just trying to not stressing so much about, what happens if I don't find a chair? What if I have to stand? What if I have to do that? It's taking the appropriate precautions with me to understand that, okay, if I do have to stand, I've got anti-spasm medications that I can take with me. I've got this, I've got that. Things that 3-4 months ago would have seemed impossible.
Okay, so you're really preparing or planning for potential things that could happen.
Yep.
And if they do happen, then you're prepared for it. And if they don't happen, it's a bonus.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So yeah, it's trying to overcome. One thing I've my personas or one of my, slogans throughout my life has always been, life is supposed to be hard. If it wasn't, we'd still be living in caves. We need to have challenges to overcome and to deal with adversity to become better. So just every day trying to be a better person.
Oh, so if technology was left up to me, we'd still be in caves.
Exactly.
Yeah, because I'd be there going, cave's pretty good. It's pretty. Someone go past on a wheel, I go, go with it, see what happens.
Yeah.
It might take off, but it's. And somebody asked me the other day, why is it? What were we doing? 3,139 push-ups in 24 days. And somebody said to me, why is it 3,139? Do you want to explain?
That's because that's how many people took their life to suicide in 2021. Yeah,
so hopefully we're doing less push-ups next year.
Exactly. My arms would definitely like that.
Yeah, hopefully it's two push-ups in 24 days. You go, oh yeah, okay.
Yeah, and that's it. So it's about trying to just, as you said, break that stigma of it and just have that conversations. And I know as simply, when I was not coping well at all, that the simplest thing of someone just touching in, saying, how are you doing? Did you see this? Just the simplest thing that was enough to just, lighten your day up and just help with everything. It didn't have to be a full conversation of listening to, I'm really down in the dumps, blah, blah, blah. It's just those small little things that can change something so much.
Yeah, we had someone in our year that we did podiatry with. They committed suicide a couple of years after graduating, and I've just heard stories of sometimes it's just reaching out to people, just checking in on your friends. If you've got a group of friends that you may not have spoken to for a while, is pick up the phone and just give them a call and see how they're doing. And I've heard some stories where people were like this close to ending it, and all of a sudden they got a phone call and someone said, "Hey, do you want to grab a coffee?" They went, "Oh, okay." And just having that coffee made them, and they've written it, say in a book later, that made them go, "I didn't realize how close I was," but just getting out of the house and talking to someone was really good.
Yeah, definitely. And it's about also knowing about the little things like intrusive thoughts. Like we all have them, but a lot of people don't realize that we all have them. So it's one of those things of just knowing that it's not an uncommon thing to have those thoughts creep in and sort of think about them and go, "Oh, I'm crazy," or "I'm this." It's like, no, everyone has those intrusive thoughts. Just knowing that other people have them is such a big thing.
Is this thoughts as in just negative thoughts toward yourself or life, people around you, or harming yourself?
Bit of both. So like, some of the things with intrusive thoughts is, you say, "I'm going to drive into this tree," or, those little, not little things like that, but, things like that, which little things like that. Like, I'm going to drive into that tree. Yeah. But I know exactly what you mean. Yeah. You're not going to enact on them, and that that's never going to happen, but it just flashes into your mind. It's little things like, I'm going to drive through, I'm going to jump in this puddle. Those little things that everyone has them, but people don't realize that everyone has them. Yeah, and no one talks about it. Yeah, that's the worrying part. Yeah, well, even you saying that now, and I go, yes, I've had these crazy thoughts, but if I actually shared some of the thoughts I've gone through my head, it can terrify people. Yeah, but you don't realize that everyone has the same crazy thoughts. And they're not crazy. We shouldn't use the word crazy. Yeah. So it's just trying to break all those stigmas and get people talking about it a little bit more. So not only you've had a road to recovery physically, and you've had a road to recovery mentally. Yep. Do you think you would have had, like, if you hadn't had the physical injury, do you think you would have gone through the mental recovery as well? Was it ever there beforehand, or was it the injury that you reckon brought it about, plus added a little bit of COVID into the mix? I think it just, everything compounded. It's, the butterfly effect. One thing led to another, which led to another. And I don't think I don't think so. I think it's all sort of, it would have. Yeah, definitely a compounding effect, I'd say. Yeah. And it's hard to say. Like you said, one person could be hit by a car. 6 months later, they're all healed up and everything's great. You never hear about it. It's just, and somebody else had the same injuries, and all of a sudden it just doesn't heal. So, and I think it's unfair to people say, "Oh, well, in my situation, this is what I would do." Yeah. Because I think unless you're in that boat, you wouldn't really know. Yeah. And it's about the way you word things when you're saying that. Like, as you said, if you were to come to someone in the same situation or a similar situation. In my situation, I did this. You should do this. Like, that's not helpful. Whereas it's like, if you just change your language slightly, like no CBIC language that are we allowed to mention other podcasts that the guys on Podchat Live use all the time, no CBIC language, which has as much of an effect as anything else. If you just change that slightly and say, this is what I found was helpful to me. I do not know if it'll be helpful in your situation, or this may help. You just slightly change it so you're not telling, you're suggesting. And that's obviously a big thing as well.
Yeah, it's words have power.
Yeah,
words really, really have power. I posted something just not too long ago, and it was a thing that Thomas Edison had written. I don't know if you saw it posted in the Podiatry Business Owners Club. Had a photo of him, and all of a sudden it was a story of he brought a note home from the teacher to the mum, and he said, "What did the note say?" And the mother said, "Oh, they said that you're that gifted. I should keep you at home and teach you at home because you're too smart for everybody that's there."
Yep.
And he found out years later, after the mum died, that the note actually said, "Your son is basically retarded. Keep him at home. We can't teach him."
Yep.
But it was how the mother took that on, and he just changed the words. And he, one of the most brilliant men to ever live.
Yep.
But could have gone down the other path and done nothing if he had heard what the teacher had actually written.
Yeah, exactly. It's an Einstein quote, isn't it? Judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, and you'll always think it's stupid.
It's something like that.
Yeah. And that's part of it, isn't it? It's all about perspective.
So the biggest thing I take away from this, like our conversation, one, you've had a big road to recovery, which I think is fantastic. But also just anyone that's listening to this is, look after yourselves. Whether it's physically, have the right things in place if shit happens, so that you can minimize the risk of what happens in all aspects of your business, and stay in touch with people that you care about. And even people you only care about a little bit, just stay in touch and just make sure everybody's okay. Because I've had a number of friends over the last few years that have committed suicide, and none of them that you sort of went, "Oh yeah, I saw that coming." Not one.
Yeah.
So they don't sort of ring you up or send you an email saying, "I'm thinking about doing this." They just do it.
Yeah.
So yeah. So
I think the biggest thing as well is, if you have a mental health injury, it's exactly that. It's an injury. We should be treating it as such and going down those avenues that you get help and treat it to be, because once you get it fixed, it may never come back.
So I think this has been a really, really important topic. And I know this podcast, usually people tune into it because they want inspiration and get all fired up. But sometimes we have to talk about the reality of life. And I think the inspirational part of this, though, is if you're feeling a little bit that way, is then you reach out to other people as well. If no one's reaching out to you, then pick up the phone and just give somebody a call and go and have a coffee.
Yeah, definitely.
Or send you and I a message or something like that.
I'm always on my phone. So anyone who wants to send a Facebook message or an Instagram message through for a chat, I'm always there.
So if anyone wanted to reach out to you and contact you in any way to talk about this further, or potentially come on What the Foot if it comes back to life, what's the best way of getting hold of you?
Pretty much my social media handles are JMC Podiatry. Just a little page I've got there, and I'll be able to get back. That's Instagram and what's the other one? Facebook. And I'll be able to get back to your messages through there.
Yeah, what's that other one? Facebook. I think everyone's heard of that.
It's this new thing.
Are you on LinkedIn as well?
I'm on LinkedIn. That's Jason WMC.
Sounds like a rapper. Jason WMC's in the house.
Yeah. Well, it's much easier than trying to tell people how to spell McAninly.
That's true. Yeah, I was having to practice to say it when I was doing the introduction. So, can I say it this way? Well, no, wrong. Yeah. So Jason W. Mac in the house. Thank you for coming on the Podiatry Legends podcast and sharing some of your story. It was, I think it was insightful. I think this is going to be really helpful for a lot of people. So, thank you very much.
Awesome. Thanks, Tyson.